So you're thinking about the CFA, you've read a few articles online, you've talked to a few people, and now you're asking yourself, should I do it? Well, I asked myself that same question when I started, and I did have a video where they simply answered that. Should I do it or should I not do it? Because the question of is it worth it, the question of a CFA versus an MBA is really important, but the question of should I do it is what does it entail? What are the things that I'm facing? What does a realistic life of a CFA candidate look like? And that's what I'm gonna try to answer today. So what I'll do is I'll cover the following topics and I'll put it in the timeline, that way you can skip, and I'll really try to say the things that no one told me and that I couldn't find online, because that's what I try to do. I try to say things that are a little different. So let's get right to it. So to become a CFA, which you probably already know and I'll cover super quick, you need 4 things. You need to pass all 3 levels of the CFA, which is the hardest part of the entire process. You need to have 4,000 hours of investment related experience, which is basically 2 years working somewhere where you have investment decision making. This can be before, during, or after you're taking the exams of the CFA, it doesn't matter. And then 3 and 4 are basically submitting referral letters, which is part of the application. And then 4 is paying the fees of actually becoming a CFA. I once met someone that passed all 3 levels of the CFA and never paid the fees because he just didn't want to, and never became a CFA. It was probably one of the most pretentious conversations I've had in my entire life. I think it's the stupidest thing ever, but we're not here to judge, even though I just judged. So the hardest part of the CFA is actually passing the 3 levels, the 3 exams. But based on the conversations I've had with people that already have the CFA and also with employers, what people really care about is you having the 3 exams passed, and then becoming a charter can be something that you do after. But the big hurdle is just passing the 3 levels. So that's what people focus on. Timing. So the fastest way that you can pass all 3 levels of the CFA based on the new schedules is 12 months. That means that you take level 1 early in the year around January, level 2 in May, June, and then level 3 in November, December. That's absolutely crazy because that means that you take 1 level and then without even finding out if you passed the level or not, which takes around 2 months, you start studying for the next level right away. That sounds absolutely insane because that means that you don't have a single break, but to have both sides of the coin, that might be the right move because you just become miserable for 1 year, you get it all done, and then that's it. That's actually a technique that I did when I took my series exams for working in wealth management, which is what I do now. I just said, I want to get this done as quickly as possible, get my weekends back, and that's what I did, and I'm happy with it. For the CFA, in my case, I've taken much longer, like it's taken me forever to finish preparing for level 2, but I think it's being the right approach because I've had some times to, have a break and then go back to studying and things like that. I'd say the more normal time frame is anything between 2 to 3 years to pass all 3 levels. That's usually what the average candidate takes. But now that you can take the exam many more times a year, it might be a little less. Time commitment. So you've all heard the big thing about the 300 hours. I think this is actually little. Based on my experience, each level takes between 350 to 400 hours. For example, the first time that I heard about the CFA, or not the first time, one of the first times I heard about the CFA was with a professor in UF, where I went to school, called Dr. Banco. He's like the most well-known professor in finance because he has this one class that is extremely hard, and he was a CFA himself. And I remember him telling me one time that for level 1, that he started pursuing the CFA program after he graduated from his PhD. And for level 1, he studied 20 hours. But then for level 2, he studied 300 hours. So this is someone that had a PhD in finance that had to study 300 hours for level 2. That means you're probably gonna study much more than 300 hours, so plan accordingly. Realistically, most of the time for each level, you study 6 months on average. My experience for level 2 is that it takes a little longer than 6 months. And then for level 1, maybe you can do it in like 4 to 5. But 6 months is a great average because the first few months you're starting to get the hang of it. And then the last 4 months is really when you start pushing it. And then specific to each week, you do usually 2 hours every single workday, so Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, you do anything between 3 to 5 hours. So you basically study 16 to 20 hours a week. So think about that. 16 to 20 hours a week. That's the big question, is where are you gonna get 16 to 20 hours a week? So let's move to the last topic of should you do the CFA program? So I've had 3 friends that have asked me if they should do the CFA, and my answer to them was no, no, and yes. And I'll cover them super quickly. The first person was a friend that went to high school with me. He was 23 at the time. He was about to start a new job in finance. He was in a committed relationship. He was about to get married 6 months after. And he also really liked doing long distance running and does it competitively. Like, he's a really good long distance runner. And when he told me, I said, I know you and I know you're not gonna do it. Why? Because I think he's dumb? Because I think he doesn't have the level of intellect? Not at all. Incredibly smart kid. It's a matter of, based on your lifestyle, I know you don't have the time of factoring in an exam that takes 16 to 20 hours every single week. He went against what I said, which I think was great because I really wish he would have proven me wrong. But after a month and a half studying, he just gave up because he had a wife, a dog, and also long distance running. Then the next person that told me was that they wanted to do the CFA because they wanted to get more knowledge in investment related matters. And I said, you wanted to do the CFA because you want to do more investment stuff. It's like you saying, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to sign up for an ultra marathon. It's just completely out of proportion. Also, that person works for a big bank and she works probably like 60 to 70 hours a week. So I told her the same thing. It's like, I don't think you're gonna do it because I don't think it factors into the lifestyle that you have. And the last person that I did say yes was because he was in the same position as I was. He was trying to become a better candidate. He wasn't in a committed relationship at the time. He had a little bit of an extra time on his hands, and he did have the ability of study the amount of time that you had to study for the exam. So he ended up pursuing it. He just took level 1 like last week, and hopefully he passes. But it was a matter that for him, he could factor it into the routine that he already had. So am I telling you to do it or not do it? The answer is, I don't know. I really hope you do it. And I really, really hope that the 2 people that I told no, that they do it and they pass it. Like, I'm not here to tell anyone I told you so. Like, I'm not. It's not my goal. It's a matter of, when you position yourself based on what I'm telling you, do you think it factors in? If I tell you that I need you to step aside 16 to 20 hours of work every single week, can you make that happen? Like, do you have 2 hours to spare every single day during your work week? That's the big question. When you're studying for the CFA, the hardest part is not the material. The material is really hard and it's a lot, but the hardest part of the CFA is the time management. It's exhausting to have to be so careful with the studying, and every single little minute that you have additional, you want to do something to be efficient because you want to go back to study and study more, and you get addicted to it, and you don't have time to work out, and you can't go to happy hour. And then your weekends, you have to be mindful of sleep because you want to catch up, but you also have to study. It's really, really tiring. And I think it is rewarding. I can't tell you how happy I was when I passed level 1. But my goal with you is to actually paint a realistic picture of what does it look like. And the biggest thing is time. Are you willing to put in the time that it takes to pass the CFA? So what do I do? Well, what I do is that I take it 1 level at a time. And that's what I covered in a few of the videos that I did for level 1, which is the one that I passed. I'm currently a candidate for level 2, and it has taken me forever to pass, or at least to take level 2 and hopefully pass it. But what I do is that I focus on each level. Once I pass level 2, if I pass it, I really hope I do, then I will think about the next level. So should you do it? My answer is, I really hope you do it, but make sure that you are realistical about what it's gonna take. Hopefully this video helps, and I'll see you next time. Peace.